Alrighty, guys, here we are again. My usual. Uh, no fancy graphics or anything. That might change. Um, the channel is getting bigger and more people are getting in it. And, uh, yeah, well, it's big, to me. I was not expecting this at all. Really, I wasn't. I didn't think anyone would be interested in, an ex-hacker's uh, review. Well, someone in my predicament, you know. Um, yes, it's a unique, predicament. I did get into the industry, and yeah, it's a weird situation. It really is, guys. I understand. You know, someone like me coming from, being an ex-hacker, not looking, you know, to get into the industry or anything, just, like what hackers do, play around, you know, experiment, find things, and that led, to other stuff. You know, you start out innocent, you really do, and then you see they're juicy things. They lead, to more juicy things, and before you know it, it's taking you to a place that you never thought. You're like, holy shit, what am I finding out here? And you just start, you start drifting away, you know, and it's a trap that a lot of innocent hackers fall into that lead them to the dark side, if you will. Um, and this is why I want to show. This is going to be a controversial video because this is going to show you, um, the dark beginnings of where things can go. Because you, as a hacker, you have no idea. You know, you know how to break into, getting into computers and networks and stuff isn't the problem. And from my point of view, you know, if there was nothing there to find, if there was nothing, it's kind of like porn. If there was nothing there to entice you and to draw you further to the dark side, then it would be, an innocent, excursion. You would see that, all these networks are buttoned up, all these big, large companies, health organizations, banks, and all this other stuff. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're large corporations hiring certified security people that have went through, I don't know, 4 years, 6 years of college and school courses and training and stuff and everything. And you assume, look, all these networks are bundled down, MasterCard, Visa, health insurance, healthcare organizations, health insurance companies, you're like, who do I think I'm going to hack into them? They're doing their job. They got all the I'm just, a measly old hacker. And you start to learn things. Um, Not that the ethical hackers are incompetent or anything. You start to get out on the internet and you see the breadth of the internet, its vastness. And there's no way any company, can guard everything and have a totally buttoned up uh, network because technology is just changing constantly. Um, you find a vulnerability today, you patch it, it's broke again the next day. The gaming, the cheat sheets that I talked about, cheat developer, it puts out a brand new cheat, you know, and some companies will buy it, because they got a dedicated team that will go through it and patch those cheats, and so the game can still stay legal and everything. But as soon as these cheat developers, they're monitoring the game, they have the game, and when when the company patches it and puts it out, well, they just make another cheat. They find a break, and it's like I said in the other video. It's a never-ending cycle. And this is not, these people that wanted to start gaming companies, back when they first started, or any company, they're like, this is not what we do. You know, we did not intend to have a whole dedicated team to handle cheats. We thought we were getting into this, to make games so people could enjoy them and play them, and do all this other stuff. This was unexpected. We didn't think we would have to be getting into this, but this this is what I don't know what to tell you guys. This is how it happens, and I'm going to show you right now how this goes, because I'm I was researching today on a particular thing. I'm not going to say much, and I'm going to blur the important stuff out. But here's what I posted to everyone today in the chat right here at the bottom. Well, I was working today, and as usual, and within my own research, and everything, and I come across this, and I feel this is important to talk about because both for security researchers, ethical and illegal, because both of them are finding out about the same things, but in different contexts. The hack. This is the bad thing. This is the bad part. And to any of you companies out there that watch my videos, I doubt it, but if there's any of you who are and just don't want to say so in the chat room or something, um, this is your problem. Um, you're not going to run into these things because how hackers like me find these things, um, you would not be on a company's payroll and doing. I'm not going to say what I do because because this is I'm just not going to say it. That's all there is to it because everyone's going to start doing it, and this is probably a good reason why hackers aren't on YouTube more, because we don't want to educate the lazy people out there by just telling them what we're doing, and oh, okay, cool, and they just start doing it, and even that's not going to work because you know it doesn't work for us all the time. We have to troubleshoot too. We do issue commands, and we don't know what the right command is. We start thinking and being creative. You try to get into, first of all, you have a goal. There's something that you want to find out. And so you start, breaking it, and you're driven toward the goal. So you never give up because you're going to try something, it ain't going to work. You're going to try something else, it ain't going to work, and everything. And, for most of you people out there, you would try something, it wouldn't work. Meant you might try something else again and it wouldn't work, and you're gone. You give up. You're like, fuck this. I'm out of here. And this is why hackers find these vulnerabilities first. The ethical researchers, they're secondhand knowledge. They usually discover these vulnerabilities and stuff and everything after they've been broken into, after they've been breached, and 50 million of their customers' private information has already been exfiltrated, and is on the dark web being sold now. Because they say they have active offense researchers, that are out there trying to find these vulnerabilities before the hackers actually. No, they don't. They don't. I'm telling you right now, it doesn't matter what their website is telling you or anything, they're lying. Because the kind of stuff that we do, just the way we use Google Dorks, and the way we use Kali Linux, if you will, the way I use Flax, the operating system that I use to hack in there, just the way that we're using it and the things that we're doing, an actual company would not allow their researchers to do because it's unethical. Plain and simple. That's where it stops, right there. Even though it's research and everything. Because let me tell you, a lot. This is why I said this right here. Don't miss this. And even though I'm not going to say a lot, I'm going to say enough for you people that are curious and can think on your own. And that's not an insult. Like I said before in many of my videos, This is it. This is an industry that does require a certain level of intelligence. That's all there is to it, plain and simple. Not insulting anyone or anything. It's very difficult to get in this industry to begin with, to pass your certifications and everything. And once you're in it, you know, everything is a problem. Just everything is, you know, and you're going to have to be, basically a problem solver. You're getting paid six figures a year or whatever, and really all you're not really hacking. You're just solving a problem, one problem after another, until you reach your goal. And that's basically all it is. Forget the hacking term, and I'm a hacker and researcher. You know, well, no, the hackers are problem solvers, not the researchers. Sad, sorry to tell you this, guys, um, because we're the ones that usually find these vulnerabilities and exploit them. And you guys find out about it secondhand after you've been hacked, after your company has been hacked, and your bosses and stuff are telling you we got to fix this and figure out what happened and everything. But basically, we're the ones. Whether we're hackers, whether we're malware authors, whether we're foreign nations, it doesn't matter. We're the bad guys, so to speak. And we are the ones that find it. And again, I'm going to reinforce this what I'm saying, and this I think this is the biggest benefit. Well, there's many benefits for someone like me being on YouTube. Um, I'm not going to reach a lot of companies or anything because they're not going to watch my channel. But for those of you that do work for a company, I wouldn't go bragging this to I wouldn't go bragging that you watch my channel to them. But this is just information to keep to yourself. This is why this whole system works this way, because hackers, whether they're foreign nation hackers or they're hackers like me, um, I'm normal hackers like me. We're curious, so we stumble onto some. We're researching one thing, like I was in this case, and I know this is a story part. I'll get to it. Don't worry. The tabs are opened up here, but we start out with one thing, whatever we're doing our reconnaissance on something, and everything, and we're going in one direction, all right, and it's got a certain level. It's like a CVSS. If you're going to get into bug bounty, you got to be able to know your CVSS if you want to succeed. And I'm going to be covering that in a video. I'm going to go all over CVSS, because if you want to succeed and get the money that you need to be getting, and not get turned down as many times as most beginners do, you're going to have to memorize this freaking system. Okay? It's a big key to everything, because you got to know how to classify your vulnerability. But we find these vulnerabilities, and it's because we start out doing one thing and we know the level of severity in it. It might not be, let's say, medium. Let's say we're going for something medium, maybe low medium. Um, and that's what we start out doing. We do our reconnaissance and everything, and we head in that direction. But here's the big but. Um, in doing that, we stumble onto something totally unrelated. And it doesn't relate to anything to what we're doing. But we're using Google Dorks, okay? And Google Dorks aren't prejudiced. You make a custom Google Dork, and usually they're long. So if we're talking collateral damage here. When you do that, you're going to find stuff that you're looking for, yes, but you're also going to find it's like casting a huge fish net in the ocean. If you're looking for sharks, or what, pick your fish, tuna, whatever it is. If you're looking for tuna and you're dragging a huge fucking net behind you, well, you're going to pick up other fish that you don't want. Okay, and some of them might be interesting. You're like, holy shit, never seen this fish before. But that's what happens. You're looking through your search results from your Google Dork, and something catches your eye. You're like, whoa, wait a minute. You're like, what is this? And like malware talking you into clicking on it so you get infected. You do the same thing. You click on the link and something opens up unexpectedly, and it's a rabbit hole. But you start researching it and you dig into it. You spend, let's say, an hour, digging into that. You forgot about your goal because you're like, oh, this is much more interesting. And you start digging into that, and now you realize that totally unrelated to the direction you first started out, and you've come across maybe a critical vulnerability, and you're the first. This is a 0 day. You know, you started out, researching something that might be a medium, lower medium, whatever vulnerability. You're like, okay, I can deal with it if I find it and everything. But now, all of a sudden, by pure accident, you stumbled onto a critical vulnerability that you're the first. No one else knows about. But this is where the but comes in, and this is where regular research ends. To explore this critical vulnerability further so that you're the first to exploit it. And, obviously you're on your own here. Now you're an independent researcher because obviously, more than likely, wherever this critical leads to, um, you're flying on your own because this is more than likely going to lead to a company or somewhere that is not covered by a bug bounty. They're not in a bug bounty program. So now is where your business knowledge has to come in, and you don't have any. You didn't cover that in penetration testing school or bug bounty school. You don't know how business works, unless business logic. What I told you in my previous video is one area that you specializing in, but this is why you need to know the CVSS also, because now you're on your own. If, you know, when you do break this and everything, you want to report it. I'm talking about, you're in the gray area here. You're a gray hacker, okay? You're starting, you're doing good, but you stumbled onto a critical, there's no way for you to get paid for it, but you do need to get, you're the one that invested the time in this. And since it's a critical, you're going to be saving the company, whoever it is, a lot of money and maybe a lawsuit and bad PR, and it could go even worse. You might be even saving the company if a foreign nation or someone was to find this vulnerability first, before you. And now you found it now, but eventually someone is going to find it, eventually, because like I said, there's bad actors out there, foreign nations and stuff that are doing exactly what I'm doing. And, at some point they're going to stumble onto this also. And they're going to extort you, for, a ransomware payment, or, however they choose to infect you. If they're going to blackmail you, and everything, whatever it is, but, now you're screwed. So this is where your business know-how comes in, because now you've got to manage, you're the main guy now. When you find this and everything and you want to contact them, how do you contact them? What am I going to say? How am I going to say this, in a good way, professionally, to let them, know, because they don't know me, and they might not even open in your email. But, this is where social engineering comes in. You got to find a title that will entice, the person to open it. And now you're going to get into phishing, because you got to find the right person to send the email to that would be interested in what you found out. Which would be maybe the network and analyst person, maybe a head figure in the SOC, if they have a SOC. But you got to fight. Okay, who, I just want to send this to anyone. I can't send it to a CEO because he doesn't have no fucking clue. You know, so you got that whole thing to figure out. But anyway, You see where I'm going with this? And I can put a whole video on this topic right here on once you find your vulnerability, how are you going to get paid for it when it's not a bounty program? Um, you have to be in charge of doing the initial contact of this company and coming off as a professional, ethical person that's trying to help them and explain this to them. This is where your knowledge comes in. They're not going to be able to tell, they have no clue. Obviously, you found it, but you're going to have to help them and explain things to them as simple as you can in a way they understand on what the problem here is. And that's, I'm going to end that digression on down that path. But that's what I'm going to get into here. I'm not going to explain anything. I'm just going to show you some results and some things, to think about, because this, like I said, guys, the learning never stops. You guys are going to have to continue and continue and continue to learn every day, learn. But you're still going to have to do your work too. But you're going to have to learn something new every day, along with the work that in your current studying that you're doing. But let's get into that right now. First thing before I start, why am I going to show you this? Again, we're here for money. We want to get people, you know, that want to get into this. Obviously, you want to get into this to make money, and we got our old John Hammond up here. um, and this is my uh, CyberSec channel. I'm logged in as CyberSec, and you can see my vidIQ. I have Boost, vidIQ Boost. I pay for it because I get all the other, keyword inspector, competitors, trend alerts, a channel audit, a complete channel audit of my, and everything. And for this to work, for the trend alerts, the competitors, and the channel audit, you know, this is getting this is getting into helping people that are in YouTube content creation. But um, did I, this is new. This channel's only been up for maybe a month and a half now. So vidIQ to get into, this is deeper analysis and stuff. So I need to like be at least like 3 months, doing this and everything, so the patterns can develop for it to analyze. But yeah, that's how I know the channel's going to grow, because I'm actively going over my analytics, and I've got vidIQ to even have more analytics and more in depth and knowledge and everything. And this is how I know, all you people that are skipping, you know, if there's enough of you skipping and stuff, I know exactly where you're skipping, what point in the video you're skipping, and what's not being skipped, and everything. So anyway, enough of that. But look here, we got 65,000 that are going to be homeless in New York City, and this is 1 hour ago, and look at the views it is getting, 56,000 views per hour. It's up to 56,000, 56K right now in only 1 hour. So that's a hot topic. That's a trending thing. People are worried about the economy. People are worried about jobs and stuff. And, you know, this is why a lot of people pick cybersecurity, because they see it in the news and, like, I want to get into that. These guys are making six figures and everything. And this is why I showed YouTube, because you can go through here, I'll pay up. If you watch Twitch, you know who this guy is. That's how I know I met him when I started out on Twitch initially. That's where this whole channel CyberSec started out. I didn't think it was going to go anywhere and everything, and I put it on Twitch. And I knew Twitch is all gamers and everything, but I'm like, yeah, this ain't going to go anywhere anyway. So I put it on Twitch, and it didn't go anywhere. But I also connected my YouTube to my Twitch. So when I recorded the Twitch video, because I did it live, it also came over to YouTube. And this was my first, 3 or 4 videos probably. And that's what blew up this channel. It didn't go over in Twitch, but it went great on YouTube. But anyway, you'd know who he is if you're into security and you're into security on Twitch. It's a very, very, very small market over there. Security on Twitch. But there are eh, 5 to 10 probably people over there that are doing great over there, and he's one of them. But yeah, like I said, he also has a YouTube channel also to go along with it. So I'm sure his YouTube channel is doing much better than his Twitch channel is. But both of his are doing pretty good. But this is what you're going to run into, and this is other stuff that you're going to see, like music and stuff, because and Jordan Peterson, you know I watch him, because I'm into psychology. And why? you know you're going to see Ben Shapiro on my feed here, not yet, but you probably will at some point. And Jordan Peterson and Neil deGrasse Tyson, Neil deGrasse Tyson, the science guy and everything, because all psychology, psychiatry, all this stuff pertains to hacking. You got to know how to read people, especially if you're going to phish them with an email or something, or or sell a company that you found a vulnerability on. You know, you, if you want, you need him to. You're trying to help them, but they don't know that. You could be a marketer, you could be a scammer, and everything. They know that much about the internet and emails, and so you got to stand out somehow, just like the scammers have got to stand out in your inbox. And so you need these social engineering and all this stuff, you know, unrelated to cybersecurity itself, but kind of related in an indirect way, because it involves a skill that you're going to need. Um, I've got a charisma course that is not cheap. It's an expensive charisma course, but it just teaches charisma. How to talk to people, how to make people feel good, by complimenting them, and all this stuff. And that you could say that's getting into hacking people. But guys, you know when you're getting this is the business, this is how it works. You got to hack people, even if especially if you're in intelligence. If you're in intelligence, you're getting hacked all the time, probably to every person you talk to, because you never know who's being on the level with you and who's not. Everything in intelligence is 50-50. 50% of it is real, 50% of it is a lie or fake. And that's on purpose. And everybody knows it, because that's the nature of the business. You can't have people being able to predict you, you know, and that can get you killed, you know. And everything that you say, the person you're saying it to needs to be asking themselves, okay, are they on the level, or am I just getting bullshit here again? And the better you are at it, at not having that distinguishable, you're like, where you're the person you're talking to, they don't know, like, is he telling me the truth, or is he feeding me a bunch of BS? I don't, you know, the guy's good at what he does. Okay, I don't know. Um, at some point, I'm going to have to decide if I want to take risk it, and go with what he's saying, or say it's a BS and not go with it at all. But if it's not BS and it's true, then I'm the one getting screwed now, because someone else is going to believe him and go with it, and they're going to get the jump on me. You know, and so you see, it's a big head game, and like, guys, I can talk about this for days on end. But anyway, that's all I wanted to show you here. Botnet busted. Um, that's an AI image right there. But anyway, that's another digression. This isn't, you know, but again, these are the things that I look when I see these. I look at, you might think, well, what does that matter? But these are the things that click in my head when I see it. But anyway, let's move on. I know you guys are probably saying this video is too long again. Well, some of you, a lot of people, you like this. But you ready? You ready for the good stuff? how long you been watching? Now we're going to get into the good stuff and where I got to blur some things. This right here, we're going to start out here. And this is really old. You look at these dates right here, you know, and you know and I want you to pay attention to this layout also. The comma delimited right here, and everything is separated into all info server. Down here we have air all and FMR main. Oh, well, okay. For those of you into programming, FMR could be form, could be frame, and everything. But let me ask you a question: is it Windows or is it Linux or is it Mac? That this right here, this whole FRM main. What do you think? If you've done any programming or anything in any one of those three, you'd know more than likely what this might lead up to or what's behind this. But again, these are things that you guys got to pick up. Up here also, create table. Okay, we're going into a database here, but what's this TS2 prefix on all of these? What database does that? And what's it mean? And we got clients, we got bands, we got channels, server privilege, and we got this port 8767. What what's on what goes on that port? Oh, but look at here. We got an admin username and password and a super admin, and it tells you what the name is. I'm looking at it, what the password is. Um, and the rest of it is this right here. But obviously, if you search on this port, which is all you got to do, you can see right up here in the URL. We're in Teams. Well, you can't see it, but we're in a TeamSpeak 2 RC2, and it's a server log, server.log. But this was probably a vulnerability because I checked this. I made sure that this, and this is part of being, now, this is not, guys, um, when I contact these people, now, not this one, they have this fixed, but if it wasn't fixed and I contact them, this is where you get into the gray area because this is actually violating the computer abuse law. Because technically, I'm not allowed to log in to that system because I don't have permission. Even though I have an admin, I have a username and a password for both the admin and the super admin, I'm still breaking the law because I'm not allowed to log into it, even though I know that because I'm not an employee. They don't know me. I don't have permission to log in. But like I said, this is that gray area because if they listen to me, I could save them a lawsuit. I could save them a lot of money in damages, maybe save the business. It depends on how bad this breach would get, depending on who found it other than me. If a bad actor found it and what, to what extent are they going to use it? Um, but when you contact them and stuff, this is the things that you got to do because you got to realize it and everything that you're at the disadvantage here. You're trying to help them, but you broke the law in doing this because you're going to tell them that, look, this is not patched. Okay, this admin login and or super admin name, and that's what I'm saying. You know, I'm telling you, cause it's not admin or super admin, but that's what I'm telling you because it's a different name, but they are admins because it tells you right here, admin account and super admin account. But I'm using these usernames and passwords that they have listed here, and they work. And so I'm going to be telling them, look, this is still vulnerable. If I'm a good guy, all right. I know you don't know me from the man on the moon, but I'm a good guy, and I'm here and I can show you how to fix this. But I'm telling you that someone will find this, and if it's a bad person, your business is going to have problems. Because they're not, unlike me, they're not here just to find vulnerabilities and help you. No, they're here to find vulnerabilities and help them. And what is helping them? Money is helping them because they might be from Iran, they might be from Syria, they might be from India, they might be from Pakistan. I mean, pick your Middle East country that you don't like. They might be from there. But this has been fixed and everything, but this is also not good. To still today, this long, uh, long ago, because look at the date here, and this is 2024. That you guys still have the server log sitting here. They probably fixed the vulnerability, however way they found out about it and everything, and they completely forgot about the server log, which happens a lot, guys, a lot. So this does not surprise me seeing this here, even after all these years, because these are the little things, that these ethical people just don't think of. You know, hey, we fixed the vulnerability. Yeah, it doesn't. Those usernames and passwords don't work no more, and you know, all's good. We're good, and they don't know these little breadcrumbs that are still scattered out through their server and stuff. And this ain't the only log either. I might add. There's more. This is just a server log. There's more. Look right here. Starting virtual server. That's the gaming server. Well, where is it at? We know it's on that port, but does it have any vulnerabilities? Are there any CVSS on it? You know, well, I'll leave that up to you. And for those of you that haven't been paying attention, when I sit up here on the FRM, you know, if you're just watching where my mouse is going and not looking around on your own while I'm talking, maybe you miss this Win32 right here. But yeah, it'll be funny, but that's a clue, guys. Win32 is a clue also. Same with the FRM up there. But this, believe it or not, me finding this, you guys might think, oh, well, okay. There's a username and password. Yeah, it don't work no more. They've patched that. So what else is here? Okay, it's a server. I've checked into the CVSs on that. Nothing there. And maybe there is, maybe there not. I'm just telling you this. Might be true, might not be true. Don't be lazy. If you're curious, find out on your own. Um, and look at this. They're so kind to even tell you a version on Win32. Now, is this the version for the Win32, or is this the version for the virtual server, or the version of the game? You know, never assume, guys. Never assume anything. Research. This is your. This is why number one on the Kali Linux. Those 13 things that you see in the menu. This is why reconnaissance is going to take you the majority, like 90%, 80 to 90% of your time, because it's these little rabbit holes that you got to go down when you're researching a target. See, I started out researching a target on this, and I'm not even on that target no more because I've stumbled onto this. Again, I still don't know at this point that this leads to a critical. This is just interesting right here. That's all. My other, my original path that I was going down, that path is still more valuable than this because this is still low on a CVSS scale. This is still low, but I'm in. There's some things that I know about personally from this that tells me I need to look. I need to look deeper because I can. I can see. Well, I know previous knowledge from my reconnaissance before I got to here. I went from my YouTube to showing you this. There's about 10 hours in between. You know, there's about 10 hours before I found this page, and I'm seeing information here that leads me to a different place, and that place is here to this log. And this is what I want to show you. I'm not going to get into what all this is or how you're going to get vulnerabilities out of it or anything. You can, right here we got a scheme. You got, we got schemas here. We got XML here. We got a whole bunch of different all, and we got hexadecimal here. We got uh, base 64 here. You know, and okay, you got a signature algorithm right here. And some of you might know what this stuff is. You should know what this is. Beginning certificate, and is this interesting or not? Um, Normally, no, not normally not. Um, but I did learn something from this right here. And to an ethical hacker, this wouldn't have mean nothing to them. They would have looked at it and, maybe stared at it for a little bit, trying to wonder, what, can I make anything out of this? And, they just don't know. Again, they have that ethical restriction on them, so they will never know anything about what illegal hackers see. Now, I'm not saying that they should be legal. You know, to keep your job and to keep working and stuff, you need to stay ethical, because you know the only way that you're going, this is a big leap if you're going to do what I'm doing. I got into this because I had no choice. I had that felony before I even got into security research. So I was screwed out of this industry before I even got started. And I didn't realize it until after I was already into it. And then that's when I realized that felony was going to screw, because I wasn't going to get a second chance. There's no second chances um, in this particular industry. But because it's a contradiction. It's security, and you're a felon. So that trust gap right there is very hard for companies to overcome. But you know, you're not going to learn the stuff that I know unless you go down this path. And if you want to do that and still stay in security, you're going to have to do what I'm doing, which is a long toll to hoe. It's not. You thought getting into security was difficult. Making a living at security, with being being a felon, or being associated with you've done illegal activity, and especially at a previous job, that might be worse than my position, because I was just a felon. I didn't get hired at a security company and then get caught doing illegal activity while I was on the payroll. Yeah, you might be end up in even a worse situation than I got into. But this is I'm going to show you something here, and this is just related to um, added extra stuff about time. That's all I want to show you with this. I'm not going to show we're not going to get into what I know found out about this and what actually led to the critical vulnerability. Um, Again, unexpectedly, I'm going to show you how. Well, you probably know how to decode. You should, even at a beginner level, you should. But I'm going to show you something. Again, this is about time and saving time for you beginners, for you guys that are just learning. And this is what I want to show. This is what I'm going to be doing in my bug bounty playlist series for you guys. I'm going to be doing this as I'm a total beginner. Like I said, I explained this all in my previous video. Um, I'm going to be doing this like I need to make money as soon as possible, and I don't want to go through I don't have time to spend 2, 3 years or 4 years, whatever, to go through courses and learn all of this stuff. The sooner I get making money, the better. And for me to go down the bug bounty route, all I need is a laptop or a computer, a browser, and Burp Suite community. And that's it. That's it. I don't need anything more. That's all I need to get going. And and my wits. Google Dorks, and learning how to research open source intelligence, basically. And you'll get into sock puppets also, which is basically an alternative identity. I've got many of them. And that's why you don't find much on me. If you could try to dox me, even if you try to dox my real name, you're going to find that I lived in Chino and Anaheim, and you're going to find out about my um, felony. Oh, you get criminal too. Um, but for someone that's lived 62 years, you are not going to find shit. And that's the mystery in me. They're like, how can someone that has lived 62 years have very little information on them? And, this is what intrigued the government, by the way. This is what got their curiosity. This is what led them down a different path. There was like, who is this guy? This is all about saving time, guys. So let's skip these right here for now. What you guys would do, we'll go to Cyber Chef. And you might be so new that you're just learning. Well, maybe you're so new you didn't even know what Cyber Chef was, or there was such a thing. But we're going to take this because this is what a beginner would do. He doesn't realize, I'm going to take this and copy it. And I just learned about Cyber Chef. This is cool. I like this tool. I'm going to paste it in there, and I'm going to take from base 64, put it over there. And what is this? Okay, Ginny. Now, you might notice something if you've been paying attention here while I've been talking for the past hour or whatever. But you see right here, you got a Ginny Lamp 1301. And down here, you got an IDN, you got a domain set in here, but everything else is garbage. But this Ginny right here, this is where the path starts. Because look up here in one of my tabs, right here next to this 42 log. The next tab was this Ginny Network OS Ent Research. Now, you see, this is another rabbit hole I'm getting into from the one I'm already in. But let's forget that. This is not how this is supposed to look completely. We got somewhat of an email address there, but not complete. And I know what this other stuff is. Again, I've been doing this longer, but you guys would have no clue. You got Delaware here? Okay. I'm like, wow. Okay, I got a Ginny Lamp. I got Delaware. I got this long domain name right here. It's going doing something. But other than that, and I could look into this. I could search for that right there, see where that leads me, and it's going to take you. You're going to waste time. Trust me. You're going to go down a rabbit hole. I didn't waste time because I understand I know what I'm seeing here. Especially this domain right here. Forget all this. Forget this stuff in the beginning. bbn.com. But anyway, like I said, this comes with experience. But this is what I want to show you guys. This is causing a problem because when you copied this, when you highlighted this and copied it, you didn't notice that it was highlighting the lines also, and that's what you ended up pasting here. Now, base 64, you can't have, base 64 just needs to be all this garbage, not those numbers. So once you figure that out, you're like, okay, let me see, how can I do this? Well, okay, let's delete that. And I could probably do this. No, not all of that. But you see the time this is taking me, guys? Okay, that works. And you're like, and I guess I could do this also. And I could do this one. And I could do this one. And you're like, okay, I got this. But you see, I'm going to stop right there. You see the time this is taking, right? I mean, and this is just a P, this is small. This is just this beginning certificate hash. Would you be sitting here doing this if this was really long and large? What, you're going to spend 20, 30 minutes just doing this? This is the problem. Why do I need, to learn JavaScript? Or why do I need to learn Python or Lua or whatever? Because situations like this come up where if you know how to program, it's going to save you a lot of time on tasks that are repetitive. In other words, this can be automated. You can do this in a click of a button, you know, after using a regular expression. You see what I'm doing? I'm going to go back here. Let me paste it. Instead of doing this from here, let's get rid of this for now. Let's go over here and paste it into here. Alrighty, we are back. I another screw up. My OBS, I had it set. I'm making videos, for my course and stuff, and so I had the OBS set up differently, and it didn't. When I switched to a Sublime, it didn't catch me switching to it. But anyway, I'm just going to cut it and edit and throw this piece in there. It's not going to be long. This is going over how to get rid of the line numbers. You know, um, and this is where the regular expressions come in. So we're going to open up a little deal here, and I'm going to have a whole video on regular expressions. So I'm just going to get through this and show you guys. But you can start out. Let's say, okay, up here, I need a new line right there. After that G, so let's put a /n for the new line, and we got 3 digits. Let's go with the 3 digits, and let's see if we can replace. Oh, we got 17 matches. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's not what I wanted. And so you're like, what? What went wrong? Okay, the numbers are gone. I don't see no numbers. So I did the D's for digit. Did get rid of the numbers, but that's not what we're looking for. So you're like, okay, now how am I going to figure this out? What can I do? Well, first of all, don't use the control command F. And also, this is not a tutorial on Sublime Text either. John Hammond, if watch his show, he uses Sublime Text a lot. It's basically his main editor. And you could do that. He uses the terminal and all that stuff, and that's an extension or a plugin you'd have to package you'd have to put into Sublime, and along with the Python language and all that stuff. We're not going to do that here. So, but first, let's just open up the regular Commander Control F, because this will help you. Now, when I teach the regular expressions, I'm going to teach it in a specific program made for regular expressions. This is going to be on Mac. For you that are on Windows, you can go get RegBuddy and all that stuff. There's plenty of tools out there to do it. It's your preference, but right now, we're not going to delve much into it, but this will show you what you're highlighting, so you know. So we go in, and you're like, okay, I see it right here. It highlights it, and all the ends right here. But I'm not highlighting the numbers or anything. So okay, I got that. So let's put the numbers in. Okay, so now we're highlighting the digits. Oh, okay, so I missed this space right here. The /s for spaces. So now we got the space. So now we're highlighting exactly what we need. You can see it's not highlighting all this other stuff in here. So with that, now that you know it, copy this and go back over to here. Now, also, we're going to get into the current, file. You can open this up over here. You got clear, include files, exclude, all that stuff. Again, this is not a Sublime tutorial. And you can see the command shift control. It doesn't do any highlight. It assumes that you know what you're doing, so it's not going to help you, or it assumes that you know your commands and all that, your syntax and all that and everything, and you know what you're doing. And so now, once we hit replace, we got 17, and now we're going all that. Well, it's not formatted, like the regular certificate was. But this is what no line breaks, no digits. We got the raw, and we can use this. We could use this. It's usable. Um, but we want to be perfectionists. We want it to look how we got it. That works also. You know, how it was displayed and formatted on the page. So that works also. So let's go back again. We can get better. So let's get better. So what are we missing? Um, okay, this first line break, it doesn't line up with all these other ones are nice and perfect, except the first one right here. That's off by 4 digits, but we're off over here by 4 digits. 3 for the digits and 1 for the space. So all of this, right here is what has actually pushed these rows over and not the top one. So we don't need this first N right here. We can get rid of that. We don't need that one. We just need to get rid of these numbers and these spaces. And the first line is fine. And if we get rid of the numbers and spaces, then all these other lines right here should go over 4, and we should all be perfect, lined up. So we hit it now. We got 17, and there we are. Exactly like the signature was in the web page that we've seen. And, this is, a whole much quicker, than doing what we did in CyberSecJourney, doing it line by line by line, and like I said, if this was a huge, one like that we copied from, something that's going to give you the line number also, you can see how much time we would have spent doing that, and this is this is just regular expressions. This is not even programming. This is just using your regular expressions to cut down your work, bam, you're done. But there's also repetitive tasks that you're going to get into where you need your Python, because it's a quick language to code in, and you're going to have to code, automation stuff. You're like, I could be doing something. I don't need to be doing this. I can automate this and just have it run in the background like a fuzzer. What, and I, after an hour, of me doing what is more important, and I'm actually getting stuff done, then I can come back to my results, and then I can make another program, because now I'm going to have a whole bunch of data like this, like we had here, and you're going to have to put together a Python script and some regular expressions and stuff to comb through it, whatever that data is, HTML or whatever it is. You're going to have to put together a script and everything that will automate that for you, because we're all about saving time here. And this is where you're going to have to learn. You're going to have to know how to program. Sadly to say, but it's gonna save you a lot of time in the long run. So with that, let's get back to where we were. Take our base 64, and now you see we got a lot more information to dig into. We got right here that looks like, well, a number of IDs. Again, you guys don't even know that this looks like there's an ID, but you'll get into this pattern right here where you got these right here. Then you got 4 digits and 3 sections there. Then you end with another long string of command numbers that are a little bit longer than this one. And again, you get a no, and we got an email address here, .org. Now, and you got also the whole domain name, also another domain name up here. And so now you see we're learning, we're getting into more places. Right here, certificate authority, which is what we saw over here, beginning certificate authority. Now you don't see the actual, that text, because that text came out of this base 64. But um, and there's our Delaware. So basically we cleaned it up and we knew that the line numbers were giving us, the problem and everything. How long it would have took you guys to figure that out as a brand new newbie, who knows? You might have seen those numbers and wondered, what the hell are those from? You know, and not, you're asking questions without thinking first. All you had to do is just look at them and see they were sequential. 370, 371, 372, 373, and they were on each line only. This is a common sense problem, people. You shouldn't even have asked the question, even to yourself. You should have just looked at it and been, oh, that's line numbers. How do I get those out of there? Again, we're getting into the intelligence and common sense and thinking here, and everything. And granted, not everybody has common sense. Not everybody can do that. They, they've been brought up to where, if they want anything or anything like, they need to ask for it. They need to ask questions and everything instead of figuring out how to do it on their own. And I get it, So again, each individual person is different. Each one of us are different in our own way because of our upbringing, our parents, where we grew up, how, all of that stuff, and that deals with life. But alrighty, guys, I'm back real quick. Just a quick message. This was a section that I had to delete. Um, it was a network discovery selection, and I probably should show some of the stuff that I did on there. And this is my self editing. Um, like I told you in my previous video, um, I have enough sense to know, what should be shown and what shouldn't, what's classified and stuff. And this is a beginner channel. Um, and I was explaining some stuff that, I guess you could say makes sense to me. But I knew probably would confuse you guys, and you guys are, at the beginning stage and stuff, and so I'm going to have to get used to, cutting my advanced stuff down, either down a little bit or out, because all I was going to do is really just confuse you guys. This didn't involve bug bounty or anything. This was pure network uh, traveling and network stuff, and what led me down to the critical path. And like I said, we might come across this when I do in my bug bounty series when I'm showing you guys, off the fly. But for right now, I'm going to cut this section out. It would have been just informational, and I'm going to go back to the results of what this whole network discovery come out of, and that's what we're going to pick up from uh, right now here. Okay, yeah, this one's filled out. So this was from well, I'm still in the Hessner one. Um, but look at this. They are very private, redacted for privacy. They paid extra to have all this information redacted. But this is, again, this is where you got to use because you're digging here. You want to know what's going on here. And so we know that there was a network above them from the trace route. Remember, there's 1299. The traffic went from 1299 to Hesner. So there is a connection there. And you look over here, and I'm going to show you right here. You can see it, but sometimes you won't get a lot of this information. Now, um, Hesner's records, you see, they decked it. Nope, you got a DE there, country. Um, but for the most part, a lot of stuff is decked here. But again, you might only see a country, or you might only get a phone number. Like I told you guys, all information is every single bit of information is information. There's 46 right here, the country calling code. Right offhand right now, does any of you know what country 46 is? If you didn't see this SE up here, and you might not even know what country's abbreviations is SE. So now, if you're that much of a beginner, now you got to memorize all your country abbreviations because you need to know them. Again, you don't, you got, it's got to be memorized because taking time to go to Wikipedia or wherever you're going to go to search up what country, that takes time. And now you don't know the country code. What country code is SE? If you didn't have, the country right here, if you didn't have this here, all you had was a telephone number. You're like, okay, where in the hell is that phone number? Without, copying it, put it into Google search, like that. You know, you don't want to lose your train of thought. You want to be able to look at that 46 and know exactly where it's at. Now, I'm going to I'm going to do a 30,000 foot level here for you guys. I'm going to leave it to you guys to go deeper into this on your own studying. But the calling country codes are simple. Once you, anything is simple actually. Once you break it down to its bare parts, the country codes, the first digit, the 4 right here. Forget the 6 for now. The 4. They're breaking down into continents. Obviously 1 is the U.S. and Canada. A country code of 2 is going to be South Africa or Africa, all of Africa actually. 3 is going to be Europe. Now, there's a thing here because 3 and 4 are split up. And 3 is basically the southern part of Europe. And 4 is getting to the northern part of Europe and into Norwegian and Sweden and Finland and, all that area and other parts. But, that tells you, right? I just told you. But, 5 is South America. You're into Mexico, Brazil, Chile, and all that. 6 is all the Australia, and all those little bitty islands over there, and everything going. That whole area over there basically is 6. 7 is Russia, all of Russia, every bit of it. Like 1 is all of Canada and U.S. Well, a country code of 7 is going to be Russia. 8's going to be Asia, China, Japan, all that area, Vietnam, and everything. But now Vietnam is split up because Vietnam also falls, well, parts of Vietnam like Laos and stuff fall into the 6. Just like when you get into 9, a country code that begins with 9, because you're going to have 91, 92, 93, 98, 94, 90, all that stuff. They're different. 91 is going to be India, 92 is going to be Pakistan, and so forth and so on. You got 976, which is off on its own, little world because that's Mongolia in between Russia and China. But, 9 is basically the whole Middle East, you know. But that's your first shorthand before you get into knowing the whole numbers. Like, what country code is 211? Well, okay, right off the bat, because of the 2, it's Africa. Now, 211, you might not have, you might have to look at a map. See, I don't have to look at a map. And one of the ways that I started memorizing this was you'll know that most all these will start at the low number at the north or at the top, and then as you go down south, the numbers will start to increase. So at the top, where you got Egypt and all that stuff, Monaco and everything, you got 218, you got 213, 212, 216. But at the bottom, way down where South Africa is, you got 27. That's South Africa. But then you got 264, 267, 263, which is right above South Africa, but that's down at the bottom. So 211, you still don't know yet, but you know the general area. You know you're in Africa. 211 means you're right like in the center of Africa, at the equator, basically, along those lines. Nigeria and, that whole area. But, this gets into geography, memorizing your map, memorizing your countries, and everything. because when you've got something in your when you're like a dog on the path, you want to keep that thought. You want to keep that thought train, that mentality. You don't want anything to distract you, and having to stop and take a number or anything and search for it when you do so much of this research, and all this research, it involves countries. It involves all this stuff and everything. You should have all your countries memorized already, all your calling codes memorized, because you're going to come across them all the time. And see, this is what I told you guys about teaching. I just spent 10, 15 minutes, whatever, showing you guys just calling codes and explaining and you're going to have to spend more time, maybe hours and stuff on it, in memorizing the globe, memorizing countries and where they're located at. And then, the country code, so you can identify a country code, telephone number, full telephone numbers and everything, just by looking at them. And then we need, we get to get into business, because, you know, why are all these foreign nation hacking groups doing all of this? They're doing it for business. They want IP, and intellectual property from AT&T or Verizon, whoever. They're looking for stuff that will make them money, especially North Korea. They need money. Countries need money to survive. So you got to get into studying the businesses, that are in Brazil. That's going to get you into drug trafficking. That's going to get you into sex trafficking. That's going to get you into sex exploitation. Vietnam is going to get you into sex exploitation also. And there's connections between Vietnam and Brazil and South Africa, because they're both in the same market. They're both in the sex exploitation and sex trafficking. You'll find out that Vietnam will get a lot of its uh, victims, let's say, from South Africa, South America. You know, and South America, not so much into the sex trafficking and stuff. In certain areas, yes, but they're worse off than most other countries. So they're one of the well, actually only a couple of the countries in South Africa are really really good at hacking, and that's how they bring money into their country. Um, Through, again, hacking large corporations, going after the big bucks, the big money, which is usually ransomware and stuff like that, getting the big payouts, and all that stuff. But if you're going to be a person that specializes in malware attribution and, like I do and everything, this is what I had to get into. I had to learn all this stuff, because it's all relative. It's relative to what I do. I need to know these things. But anyway, I mean, I covered everything I wanted to cover. That's why I opened up these four things. You guys don't need to know much anymore about how I did it or why. That's for you guys to learn. Eventually, you'll get there. You'll learn how I dug these things up by accident, because you'll get doing it yourself. You'll start out on one path researching something, and by just chance, you happen to stumble onto something that takes you in a whole nother direction, because you can see from your passion, from your knowledge and your experience that you've done up, that it's leading to something else, much a bigger payoff. You know, you're going from maybe a low or low hanging fruit or whatever, or maybe a little bit of medium. You're going to that kind of pay down there, which is only in the hundreds or anything, and you're going to stumble onto a critical, which could be in the tens of thousands. Um, so yeah, that if you're a bug bounty from the Middle East or from someplace like that and everything, this could be a huge, huge payoff for you. So yeah, this is obviously more, and you want to spend a lot more time, going this to forget what you were doing, beforehand. It's irrelevant. Now you're on this path, but how do you get paid? Like I said, this might more than likely is going to lead to a client or a business or something that is not involved in bug bounties. They don't have a bug bounty program and everything, but they got this huge 0 day exploit that is just sitting there waiting for a bad person to discover it. And let me tell you guys, you're new at this, thinking that oh, I've got this down. Yeah, this is bad, bad. They'll want to be all over this. No, 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 no. You got more to learn. You got to learn your social engineering to even get the person that needs to see your email, to even get him to open your email. If he doesn't click on your email, he's not going to know how important it is, because it's just going to go in the trash. He's not even going to see it. So now now technically, you got to play the role of the scammer. You have to convince the person in charge and everything that this is important to him, amongst all the other scam that he has, that is also telling him that no, we're important too. We're important. You got to battle. You're in competition with all of those emails in his inbox on how to get his attention. So that's another path that you guys are going to have to learn on your own. And that's when you know that you've reached the top. If you look at my, chat, right, see up here, I got myself as elite hacker. Yes, that's arrogant and everything, but I put that title on myself because that's this is when you know for yourself that you've hit that level. You're a top bug bounty hunter. You're a top penetration tester, and whatever it is you're doing. Anything when you can stumble onto a 0 day vulnerability, send an email to a company that's not in bug bounty. They might not even know what bug bounty is. They might not realize that there's such a program out there. But when you stumble onto them and you send them an email amongst all their other spam, your email, you got to make sure your email doesn't end up in the spam folder. That's another thing I forgot to say. So you got to figure out how to keep your email out of being automatically tossed into the spam, where he don't even see your email at all to begin with, because more than likely he just goes to a spam folder and deletes it without even looking at anything. That's what I do. So that's the big hurt. After you've learned all about your security, your OS intelligence and all that, and doing all your research, after you've learned how to do all the stuff that I've just spent an hour and a half or whatever it is now going over and telling you guys, now you got to get into the business side of it. And how do I get myself paid? Because now I'm not a bug bounty hunter. Now I'm kind of like a security researcher, and now I got to sell myself. I got this information that is vital to them, and everything, and can save them money and stuff. But how do I get my message across to them? You can't just send your old generic email that you would send, because that's, you know, if you do a bad job of it, which you probably will, he's not even going to see it. Like I said, that's going to end up straight into the spam folder, because you don't even know what triggers a spam folder, do you? Another path that you got to go down, you got to learn about how do mail servers know about spam folders and spelling spam. Then that's going to get you into the email header itself. DMARC, SPF, all that stuff. Pass, fail, deny. All just open up, go to your Gmail or whatever, open up an email and look at the source code or the header code, and all that stuff in your header. That's where you're going to have to start learning what that means and everything, because that's the information that's going to tell the server on whether it should go automatically to the spam folder or not. And you need to know how to avoid that stuff. You need to know how to avoid your email getting into that category. But with that, guys, I have no clue how long this was, but probably my normal length, or maybe went over, who knows. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's to me, it's kind of basic, but like I said, this is what I'm going to have to be doing with my bug bounty playlist series. And when we dive into learning how to get you guys money and everything, you know, you're going to be thrown in to these things, where you got to learn these advanced things, right now because you're on the path of learning it as soon as possible to money. You know, you need to find your first bug bounty on a bug program. Not what I showed you guys here. I'm just showing you that this is what's out there, guys. Once you get out doing things, and even when you're doing things on your own, um, this is don't think that well I know how to find bugs and I can do this by myself now, and I just explained it to you, and this is only one problem. Doing things on your own, you're going to run into more problems. How to get your email sent to the right person and get him to open it to read it, that's only one problem that you're going to have to overcome and learn about. There's plenty of more. If you want to be on your own like me, and you're totally all by yourself and doing this on your own and everything, um, first of all, you got to build that reputation. Uh, I've I've got ways, I can tell them, look, if you want, I know you don't know me, once he answers me back, you know, and it's like, how do I know I'm not getting scammed or here like that? I'm like, okay, I'm here to help you, and I've got someone that can back me up, and they're in the government, and I can give him a contact name to and I go, just pass him my name and say, can I trust this person? And they'll take it from there. Then you can get back to me after you've done that. You know, that's my higher up that I have. When I do run into these situations, is where a medium to a large company is wondering if they can trust my email and everything because they're not going to trust my word on it. Let me tell you guys all of that now. They don't know you from the man on the moon. You can swear up and down on a stack of Bibles in your email that, look, you can trust me. I'm a secure. That doesn't mean jack. Doesn't mean jack. You need a third party. You need someone else of authority that can back up your trust. Then they'll believe you. Then okay, we can talk. You know, you're not going to fake that. We called the department directly. We talked to, who you said to talk to, and they obviously verified who they are and everything. And so, yeah, we can put some faith into you, and maybe we can start a relationship. And you see, once I do that once, then I get, after two or three times even, now I've got word of mouth going into these other companies. When he's at a party or something, and one of our business partners or their sponsors or what someone that they know, or they just meet at the party. Oh, what do you do? Oh, I work for so and so. Oh, wow, yeah, yeah. And if it comes up, to where they're having a problem, you're like, oh, you got a security problem, like that, and then yeah, they're like, well, do you know a person? Do you know someone? And you're like, yeah, I know someone I can put you in touch with. Probably could help you out. And when you're independent, guys, this is your lifeline. This is word of mouth is everything. Forget advertising, forget putting ads and stuff out and everything. When you're independent and everything like I am, word of mouth is gold. I mean, you can't beat it. You cannot beat it because it's a direct recommendation, from friends and business partners and associates and stuff. When one person says, "Oh yeah, you can trust him. He's done some work for us and helped us out and everything," and in my case, you know, also what goes by word of mouth is, oh, and by the way, he's worked for so and so, in the government, in the Department of Defense, you know, and they're like, oh, okay, wow, you know, and that's all. That's without me knowing anything about it already. That person's sold on me and is going to contact me, and right away they're ready. They're a client basically, and they don't even know it because they're basically contacting me to hire me. Basically, say, yeah, we got this problem. We heard that you can help us out. I talked to so and so. He's already vetted you. And everything. We know where you come from and who you work for and stuff. So can we get started on this? And that's how most of them start out. So again, I was going to end it and ended up on that rant. But you guys, you see, to be independent, there's a lot to it, a really lot to it. And I know there's two people at least in my channel, my Discord channel, that that's the route they want to take. They want to go the independent route. And this is mainly I'm telling this to you, and just to your casual YouTube listeners out there that listen to me. Um, it's going to be tough. You're going to have to be at the top of your game, and what everything, open source intelligence, penetration testing, and you're going to have to know it all, memorize the best you can, be as quick as you can, solve problems as fast as you can, and everything. Because word spreading, about your abilities and stuff in the business world is what stops them from going to the big, security firms that are online, that have the big, huge, fancy website. They got the 15 or 20 security, certified security experts, on their staff to help you out, and everything like that. And that's how people like me are going to beat them big companies out, is because I end up, because of a party, and some two people, meeting each other and talking and everything. I get, you know, recommended first and bypass all of them looking for that stuff because they're thinking the same thing. There's a whole lot of security companies out on the internet. They might have looked at, who knows, 5 or 10 or 20 of them, and like, who do we want to, who do we, I don't know. Do we have any recommend? Has anyone recommended anyone? No, not yet. I haven't talked to and this is what's on their mind. They go to the party to relax and everything, and they end up meeting somebody, and then in another company like that, and you know, the question gets asked by the other person, just by well, why you got you got an issue or something like that, and then he's like, well, yeah, we kind of do. We're kind of stuck. We don't know who to go with, this and that. And he's like, well, if you're interested, I know a person. Um, and the conversation might go, well, okay, you know a person? What, they're not a company or anything? You know a person? They're like, well, yeah, he's, look, he's helped us before, and on a major thing, a breach that could have probably went really bad for us and everything. And he's the one that contacted us, and explained it and everything. And besides all that, he works for he used to work for so and so. Now he's on his own. He's independent, and this is what he does. You know, and there's my end. There's my end right there. That person was my salesman without even knowing it. But anyway, guys, with that, hope you guys enjoyed this long ass video. I'll know how long it is when I put it in DaVinci and look at it. But um, with that, yeah, and I'll have to edit it, because like I said, there's some stuff, I got to blur out the passwords and stuff that were in it and everything. But with that, guys, I will see you in the next video. And thanks for watching all my videos. I really, really appreciate it. Hit that subscribe, come into the Discord if you want. And, we're an open group. We're not really active a whole lot. We get going on subjects every now and then, but half of my people are overseas, half of them are here in the States, so, we got like 100 people in the chat, but usually only 20 or so are online at a time, depending on, the time of day and stuff. But with that, we'll see you guys in the next video, whenever that is.